My whole life I've been very into storytelling, capturing people's attention with narrative has always been sort of my desire with my artwork. Even when I wasn't doing illustration and just painting, the paintings would be telling stories. I've always been very character-based, and I think that I just naturally fell into illustration after really playing around with what kind of art making I enjoyed in college. I think one of the first things I always ask myself is, what do I want to say? What's something that I want to say? What are stories that I want to tell? And how do I want to be remembered? And then as soon as I find something, I leap on it, and I don't wait. Because if I second guess what I want to say, I won't say anything at all. So I think it's really important to tell raw stories exactly as I think of them. I think my inspiration comes from, other stories that I was influenced by as a kid. Comic books, even cartoons, Mad Magazine, things like that. Other people's stories. But there's also the darker side of storytelling that, your own personal traumas or the things that you go through that can push forward and influence stories, and then you figure out how to make them light and how to make them approachable, and what will draw people to relate to your stories. I think for me and my background with storytelling, it's always been a feeling of, I think that people undermine storytelling as an art form. It's been very laid back as maybe even like a child's form of art. When people think of comic books and graphic novels, they think of the young adult reader. But to me, those were ways that I grew up learning about myself, and telling other people's or reading about other people's stories was a great way to find out what I related to, who I related to, what kind of scene or community I even wanted to be a part of. And I think that comic book illustration, graphic illustration, all of those things, which are generally in the past targeted towards children, are a great form of being able to tell giant stories that maybe you wouldn't be able to speak on yourself. Maybe a conversation you can't have with someone face to face, you can tell it to a stranger in a story. It's kind of like therapy. You create the comic book or you create whatever story you want really, and you get that off your chest, and maybe someone that reads that in the future relates to it, and they tell you that they relate to it, and all of a sudden you have a community of people that relate to your story that you didn't even know you had. And I think that form of creation and community has been, relatively undermined by the art world for a long time. I really love figure drawing, and so the DCA has helped me really explore and be able to continue to build on foundational skills that tumble into what I enjoy doing and making with my art. So figure drawing, skill drawing in general has really helped me and encouraged me to look at drawing the human figure in different ways, and that's something that they provide here. And not only that, but it's bolstered the ability to have an artistic community to bounce ideas off of, and to be able to receive feedback from other people that have similar passion to mine. I think my journey for starting a piece always comes down to what I want to leave behind. What story do I want to tell? It's important for me to be able to know that I can see a project through all the way, from start to finish. I really dislike leaving things undone or half finished or half baked. So the story has to really mean something to me for me to want to pursue a project. That being said, I gravitate towards all kinds of little bits and pieces of life that inspire me to make stories. Sometimes just the sun on a warm day makes me want to write, a story about the sun, or a bunny that I meet in Chicago hopping across the street. Little moments that for some reason pique your interest. Those are the things that make me want to make stories. But I have to know that it was worth it to me to make the story all the way through, or to find the right ending.